Hey guys, welcome to this video lecture series on the subject of energy technology. I'm Harsh Panchal, Assistant Professor in Chemical Engineering Department of LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. Up till now, we have discovered all the different type of non-conventional source of energy. Well, but in today's lecture, we are going to see the ultimate source of energy, and that is nuclear energy. So, let's get started. Well, the nuclear energy is the ultimate source of energy on the planet Earth. Sun itself gets its energy from nuclear reaction, which is being carried out inside the core. Everything around us is made up of tiny object called as atom. Most of the mass of this atom is in the center of there, and the rest of the mass is in the form of electron surrounding this nucleus and in the form of proton. A certain amount of large atoms mass is converted to pure energy by following equation of the Einstein, that is E is equal to mc square. So Einstein introduced this equation, that is E is equal to mc square, which relates two completely unreliable quantities. One is energy and another one is the mass. So if we see, there is no relation between these two. But this equation identified that mass can be converted into energy, so that energy can also be converted into mass. So what does this nuclear energy means is that conversion of mass of these atoms into the energy. Hence, this equation of E is equal to mc square holds its great importance in this chapter. So ultimately what we are going to do is, we are converting this mass of atom into the energy. So there are two different methods to achieve such kind of phenomena. One is known as nuclear fission reaction and another one is known as nuclear fusion reaction. So let's understand what is nuclear fission first. Well, the fission is the energetic splitting of large atom such as uranium or proton into two smaller atoms called as fission product. So what does this fission mean? It is splitting of a large molecule into two smaller molecules. Here in this animation, you can see that one large molecule is being bombarded with nuclear or neutron, then this fusion reaction is being carried out and two different fission fragments you can see here are being generated, and some amount of neutron are also generated. So this is what about the fission reaction. So fission means nothing but splitting of large molecule into two or more than two smaller molecules. Here you can see that these fission fragments or products are being generated and some amount of neutron is also released. In order to split an atom, the atom need to be hit with neutron so that several neutrons are also released, which can also go to split other nearby molecules, producing this nuclear chain of reaction to sustain energy released. This nuclear reaction was the first to be discovered among two nuclear reactions. All the commercial plants today generating electricity by means of nuclear power plant are running on this nuclear fission reaction. So this was all about the nuclear fission reaction. Now let's understand what is the fusion. Well, fusion is a completely opposite phenomena of the nuclear fission. Fusion is the combining of two small atoms such as hydrogen or helium to produce heavier atom and energy. So here in this animation, you can see that two smaller compounds are being combining and they produces larger component of the helium and generate energy. So this is what the nuclear fusion means. It is the combination of smaller molecule to generate larger molecule and energy. This reaction can release more energy than the fission without producing any radioactive byproduct. So in this nuclear fusion reaction, no byproduct is being generated and energy is more than the nuclear fission reaction. Fusion reaction occur in the sun. generally using hydrogen as a fuel and producing helium as the waste. So sun produces its energy by nuclear fusion reaction. This reaction has not been commercially developed yet, and it is serious research interesting worldwide due to its promise of nearly limitless and no pollution energy. So nuclear fusion is more promising technology, but it is need to be researched and developed yet. So this was all about two different type of nuclear reaction as nuclear fission and nuclear fusion reaction. Now let's understand about the fuel that are used in the nuclear fission reactors. Well, the nuclear fuel is the fuel that is used to sustain a nuclear chain reaction. These fuel are known as the fissile material. So the word fissile is used to identify the nuclear fuels. These fissile are nothing but radioactive material, and they can directly generate energy in order to produce electricity or different form of energy. We will understand the meaning of this fissile later in this chapter. And the most common nuclear fuel that are used, and it is radioactive metals such as uranium-235 and plutonium-239. All processes involving in obtaining, refining and use of this fuel make up the cycle known as the nuclear fuel cycle. Here in the image you can see that the first image is the uranium-235 and the second image is of the plutonium-238. Both are the radioactive material and they liberate nuclear energy. So this uranium-235 used as a fuel in the different concentration. Some reactor use natural uranium with uranium-235 concentration of only 0.7%, while other reactor require the uranium to be slightly enriched or concentrated up to 3% to 5%. The plutonium-239 is produced and used in reactor that contain significant amount of uranium-238. It can also be recycled and used as a fuel for the thermal reactors. Current research is going in the direction to investigate the thorium-232 can be used as a fuel for the nuclear reactions. So this was all about the fuel that are used in the nuclear fusion reaction. Now let's understand what is the nuclear fuel cycle. Well, the various activity associated with the production of electricity from nuclear reaction are collectively referred as the nuclear fuel cycle. This nuclear fuel cycle start with the mining of uranium and end with the disposal of this nuclear waste. So here in the image you can see that the complete cycle of nuclear fuel. It starts with the mining, then it is followed by refining, then conversion, then enrichment, then it is being used as a fuel fabrication, then it is used for the purpose of electricity, then lastly we have to manage this waste that is generated by the nuclear reaction. So let's understand all the steps that involved in this cycle, starting with the uranium mining. Well, both the surface and underground mining technique are used to recover uranium ore. In general, open pit mining, that is surface mining, is used where deposits are close to the surface. And underground mining is typically used for the deposit depth greater than 120 meters. So there are two techniques to mine this uranium. One is the surface mining. It is used when the uranium is available at the surface, and the another one is the underground mining, which is being carried out under 120 meter down the earth surface. The quantity of material that must be removed in order to access the ore may be very large for the open mining, while for the underground mining this quantity is relatively small. So we can say that the pure form of the uranium can be obtained from the underground. Here in this image you can see that the mining process of such uranium. Now let's move to the second step in the cycle of this nuclear fuel, and that is uranium milling. Well, this milling, which is generally carried out close to the uranium mine, extract the uranium from the ore. So in order to extract the uranium from the ore, this mining process is being performed. Most mining facilities include a mill, although where mines are close together, one central mill can be processed for the separation of uranium from its ore. A mill, in the mill, the ore is crushed and grounded to the fine slurry, which is leached in the sulfuric acid to allow the separation of uranium from its core. So what we do is, we insert this uranium inside the sulfuric acid in order to separate pure uranium from its ore. It is then recovered from the solution and precipitated as the uranium oxide. The concentration of this uranium oxide typically contains 80% of the uranium from the original ore. So this was about the step of the uranium milling. Now let's move to the second step, and that is concentrating. The uranium oxide product of the uranium mill is not directly unstable as a fuel for the nuclear processes. Only 7% of natural uranium is fissile material. That means it can be used as a fuel for the nuclear reaction, or that can be capable of undergoing this nuclear reaction. So the form of uranium which is fissile in nature, and that is uranium-235. The remaining is the uranium-238, which is not fissile material. The most of kind of reactor, the concentration of fissile uranium-235 isotope need to be increased, typically between 3.5% to 5% uranium-235. So for doing so, the concentration of this fuel is being performed. Now let's move to the next point in this cycle of nuclear fuel, and that is enrichment. The most of the uranium oxide is converted into uranium hexafluoride, which is gas at relative low pressure. So now we convert this uranium into gaseous form. The enrichment process separates this uranium hexafluoride into two streams, one being enriched to required level and known as the low enriched stream, and another stream is known as the progressively depleted uranium-235, and it is called as tails or simply depleted uranium. So here in the image you can see that the enrichment section. The main enrichment process in the commercial plant that use the centrifuge, which is thousands of rapidly spinning vertical tubes. Here in the image you can see that different tubes that are continuously moving vertically. So the physical property of molecule, specifically the 1% mass of the difference between uranium isotope, cause them to separate. The product of this stage of the nuclear fuel cycle is enriched uranium hexafluoride, which is converted to produce enriched uranium oxide. So what we do is, we feed this uranium hexafluoride into these vertical moving cylinders or tube, and on the rotation it separates into the different molecule of uranium, and then this uranium hexafluoride is again converted into the uranium oxide. Now let's move to the next step, and that is fuel fabrication. Well, the reactor fuel is generally in the form of ceramic pellets. These are formed from the pressed uranium oxide, which is baked at the high temperature around 1400 degrees Celsius. So basically this fuel is in the form of ceramic pellets. These pellets are then encased into the metal tube to form fuel rods, which are arranged into the fuel assembly ready to introduce in the reactor. So here in the image you can see that the different fuel rods are being generated. These fuel rods are nothing but uranium oxides, and they are being made up of ceramic pellets. So the first image shows these fuel rods, and in the second image you can see the enlarged image of such fuel reactor, where these fuel rods are inserted inside the core of the reactor. So the dimension of fuel pellet and other component of the fuel assembly are precisely controlled and ensure consistency in the characteristic and behavior of the fuel. So here you can So here in the image you can see that how we are arranging these fuel rods inside the fuel reactor. So this was about the fuel fabrication step. The next step is the used fuel. With the time, the concentration of fission fragment and heavy element in the fuel will increase. The point where they are no longer practically used, they can be discarded. So after around 80 to 36 months, the fuel is removed from the reactor. When this fuel is removed from the reactor, it still emits radiation and heat. It is unloaded into storage pound immediate adjacent to the reactor and allow the radiation level to decrease. There are two options to use this fuel. The reprocessing to recover the recycled and usable portion of such fuel. The long-term storage and finally disposal without reprocessing. So this was the two options for the used fuel. Now let's see the last step in the cycle of this nuclear fuel as the reprocessing. So this used fuel for the nuclear reaction is now reprocessed for the further application. The reprocessing separates the uranium and plutonium from the waste product. By cutting up the fuel rod and dissolving them into the acid, separate various materials. So now what we do is, we separate this fuel or the used fuel from the recycling process. It enables the recycling of uranium and plutonium into the flash fuel and produce a significantly reduced amount of the waste. So by reprocessing of such uranium and plutonium, we can decrease the waste. And we can reduce the consumption of the new and fresh fuel. So this concludes the complete cycle of the fuel that are used in the nuclear reaction. We will see you in the next video. Till then, keep watching, keep learning. Thank you.